Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's been a week since I've got home from my around Australia motorcycle adventure with Chris and Craig. It's cold, you can tell by the fact I've got a beanie on and I'm layered up. But anyway, so home safe and well. So let's go through the wrap. I've had a lot of people ask, a lot of subscribers want to know how far, how much, what were the good and the bad of travelling around Australia. So let's get into it. So I left on the 11th of May, got home on the 18th of June, which was 39 days. So in that 39 days, how far did I travel? I travelled 15,487 kilometres at a cost of $1,471. How do I know exactly that's how much it was? Well, I recorded all my travel in this book. That included the kilometres, where we refueled and how much, and also the accommodation. So let's give you a quick look inside. Right, so you'll be able to see here the fuel, where we refueled, and I said the litres and how much. And further on, and here you can see the accommodation. So I recorded the address, the name of the establishment where we stayed, the address and how much. It was double recording in some respects because it was on hotels.com and booking.com and Airbnb, but I wanted all in one record. So there it is. Oh, and by the way, no two guesses who I support in the National Rugby League. Okay, so the longest day that we travelled. Let me put my specs on. The longest day in distance was 681 kilometres, which is a good day, but not a heavy day, I would say. But that was the longest day, and that was from Point Sampson in WA to Carnarvon. The shortest day was from Eden in New South Wales to Moruya, and that was only 171 kilometres. You probably ask why we only did 171 kilometres in one day. It was quite simple. My hometown was Moruya. We didn't quite make it. We didn't quite want to do that extra 171 kilometres the day before because that would have put us riding into night, which was a no-no. The most difficult day, that's a hard one. It wasn't necessarily the distance. I found the hardest day for me was from Lake Argyle to Halls Creek. And that was only 429 kilometres, but it was hot. And it was the heat that just beat you down and beat you down and beat you down. You had to stop frequently, keep the fluids up, but it mentally fatiguing. So when I got to Halls Creek that day, I was buggered. So distance-wise, not too bad, but it was a tough day. All right, accommodation. Just to give you a clue, the combined ages of myself, Chris and Craig is 207 years. Chris leads the pack, he's 72. I am 71. I know I don't look it, but I am. And Craig is the baby at 64. So being guys who are well into our middle age, if not past it, we decided very early on that we were not going to camp. We thought at the end of riding every day, we needed a good night's sleep, a comfortable bed, a hot shower, and decent food. So camping was definitely not on the agenda for us. A little secret, if I was to travel by myself, and I was thinking of going by myself because Chris wasn't quite sure whether he could make it, nor Craig. So if they didn't and I was going to travel by myself, I would have camped. And in hindsight, that would have been a huge mistake. So I'm glad that I didn't camp. What do we use for accommodation? Combination of hotels, motels, cabins in caravan parks, and Airbnb. Well, the total cost of that accommodation was $8,390. It works out to be $2,663, which was my share. My personal expenses were $1,500, and I've rounded that off. That was made up of food, and I also needed in Darwin a new battery. Battery for my bike. If anybody knows anything about motorcycle batteries, they can be fine now. You go out and turn it on and dead as a doornail. And that's exactly what happened. So I had to buy a new battery in Darwin. I got a lithium battery for $210. So my personal expenses were predominantly food and the battery. And two other things. We hired a car for one day in Darwin. My share of that worked out to be $56. And crossing Port Phillip Bay from Queenscliff to Sorrento was on a ferry, and my share of that was $50. So all up, my costs were $1,471 for petrol, $2,663 for accommodation, and $1,606 for sundries, personal expenses, food, battery, and a ferry. Total, $5,740. Total, $5,740. Was it worth it? Absolutely. Would I do it again? No. It was on the bucket list. I've ticked it off. I have no desire to do Australia by motorcycle again, either by myself or with somebody else. However, I would like to do it again in a car with my dear wife, Mrs. Lane. If anybody has any queries or any questions, please drop me a line in the comments below. Thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed the series, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye for now.